All right, what's going on, guys? Dan Watson, and these are the new Rode NTH-100s that were just announced, and I've had the awesome opportunity to play around with these and test them over the past month. We are going to record some sounds of the engine or the exhaust. Now, these are primarily created for the studio, and that's going to mean they have some advantages and disadvantages depending on how you plan on using them. I actually think this is my first official headphone review on the channel, but definitely not my first time talking headphones and using headphones. But I actually use them quite a bit for playing music and music creation, because like what you probably don't know is that my other passion in life is going to be music stuff. This is the other half of my studio that you guys usually don't see. And what I use the most for those is actually going to be some in-ear custom molded monitors, because I play drums a lot and these kind of work really well. But what I found out pretty much immediately after entering this space is that monitors, or basically headphones geared for music creation, are very different from monitors dedicated to music consumption. And so these are going to be geared towards music creation or studio work. So that's where I've been spending most of the time with these cans strapped to my head. So let's check out the hardware on these, because if you don't have a set of good studio headphones, you definitely should, and these should be at the top of your choice right now. But speaking of music, you guys know that music and sound effects are such a critical part to my videos, to your videos. So today I've got a hookup for you guys, 15% off a subscription to Soundstripe. Now, Soundstripe is a subscription-based, royalty-free music library. But what's really awesome about Soundstripe is that they actually have 3 products available. So you can actually do music, sound effects, and video. So everything that I need is right here in one place, and you can just sign up for a subscription for music if that fits you better. Now, if you've ever endured the painful process of finding new music, there's some really awesome features here that you will really appreciate. So just look at how many different filters you have to select your music. I mean, seriously, this is insane. But a few of my favorite tricks are searching by key. So if I have one song for an opener, I can make sure my second song matches that same key, and I can mix them together. But my favorite is actually going to be right here, and this is the exclude button, because I can't tell you how often I'm searching for music and I don't know exactly what I'm looking for, but maybe I'll hear like this country song and I know that I'm definitely not looking for country for this project, so I can just exclude that. So if you haven't checked out Soundstripe yet, go to sign up for the free trial or use my coupon code LearningCameras for 15% off your subscription, and you can sign up today. So let's dig into this hardware a bit, because if you're using these for studio work and creation, there's a good chance that you have these on your head for like hours out of every day. So it's going to be a big benefit to have something that's well built and comfortable. And these headphones absolutely fit that bill. Extremely well built. The minute you hold these in your hands, you can just feel that these are something else. So these are some headphones that I typically use. These are the Sony 7506 studio headphones, and they have almost no padding right here at the top, and they just feel incredibly flimsy. These are about $100, so a little bit under what these are, but definitely when you feel these Rode headphones, this is a night and day difference. So a serious step up from what you're getting with those Sonys. Now, to show you what I'm talking about, the entire frames of these is a wide piece of stainless steel that meets up to this headrest, which is just loaded with padding right here. Now, Rode says that this is a mix of like memory foam and a gel padding, but yeah, it just feels really nice. And the actual material around this is Alcantara, which I typically see in more high-end cars. I've actually shot this quite a bit, and for me, you can absolutely feel the difference between this and like your typical kind of pleather that you would find on a lot of headphones. The big thing for me too is that this material, it's not noisy at all. So as you kind of rub these around your ears, you don't hear them at all. And I do on my other headphones. Now, these are not light headphones. They definitely have some heft to them, much heavier than some of my other headphones, but it wasn't enough to bother me after a couple of hours, because these are just really comfortable headphones. Now, I can't comment like on how these will hold up over time, because I've only had them for a month, but Alcantara typically holds up extremely well. Plus the ear cup and this headband are user replaceable. Now, the other piece of kind of unusual hardware right here is this piece which Rode calls Fit Lock, which basically allows you to adjust the length of the headphone, and then you could just twist this and lock this into place. This is probably a smaller thing for me because I never really have issues with how headphones expand to your head. However, this is definitely a nice feature to have. I'm not always fiddling with the exact fit for me. Now, what I really like is that there is a 3.5mm jack in both ears. So if you don't like a cable dangling off from a certain side of your head, you can switch them. And to me, this is huge because usually my amps, like on the drums and stuff like that, are on the right side, and most headphones actually have the cable on the left. Plus, these actually do have kind of a twist and lock feature to them, so you won't have to worry about these pulling out at all. Rode does sell a couple different colors of these cables and 2 different lengths, I believe. So no worries if your cable gets damaged. These are fully user replaceable as well. And the one it came with was just over 7 feet long, so plenty of length for just about anything that you're doing. Now, obviously, these are closed back headphones, so you do have a bit of noise isolation. Not a ton though. You can still hear things that are going on around you if you don't have any music playing or anything like that. But I do find that once you start to play something, it really tends to fill the space, and I don't really hear much of anything going on around me, even with the volume pretty low. Now, there's obviously positives and negatives to sound isolation, so this is going to be a great option if you're in kind of more of the quiet-ish spaces. A little bit of noise is not going to be a problem like ambient Starbucks interiors, but if you have a ton of noise going on around you, some of that will bleed in through the headphones, which is pretty typical for studio headphones. There's not a lot of isolation. So these kind of blend pretty well. Plus, they look really nice. I mean, understated enough that you're not drawing massive attention to yourself when you're wearing these, but nice enough that you have a really unique set of headphones and a really nice looking overall design. Now, the only things that I kind of found myself wishing that we had is that these don't have any kind of foldability on them. So not a lot of studio headphones do though, but these Sonys actually do, and I tend to use these a lot kind of in the field, so having something that was a little easier to port around would be a bit nicer. Plus, these do come with a nice kind of sleeve case to them, but nothing with padding, so there's no hard case to protect these. So just keep that in mind if you're going to be traveling quite a bit with these, but you can just disconnect the cable itself and pull these around and put them in the case and store them nicely. The only other thing is that we don't have any like really cool features that would move the industry forward. So maybe like in addition to wired, they could have some latency-free wireless option or dual sound profiles or something interesting like that. These are really your tried and true studio monitors. So let's talk about the sound of these, and this is where I wish that you could actually hear these. These do have 40mm dynamic drivers. Now, what I'm looking for in a pair of studio monitors is that they just sound spacious and that they have good separation, which is really key for me. And I think these pretty much hit home in those areas. I want to make sure I can hear the original sound profile in as wide of a space as possible. So basically, I want to feel like I'm getting the most dynamic range that I can for all you camera nerds out there. And this is definitely going to be a win for these in that area. I feel like I can hear instruments really well when I'm doing vocals. I can hear those really clear. It's still going to be more of a flat profile though, so don't expect like too much for dynamics, but it's still a decent enough clarity without having too much high end. My biggest issue with these Sonys, a lot of high end on this. There's just so much presence in there. It's great for kind of hearing those clicks and hisses and some of those other noises that I don't want, but it's just way too much for me. Now, if you are listening to a lot of music with these, either just for fun or maybe you're editing, because most of my edits are actually music with sound effects, and I like having a little bit more dynamic sound for those. This has just enough bass to keep most people happy, but I feel like it's still a bit flat. More the focus is going to be on the mids, and it can sometimes feel a little bit muddy. So for consumption, I tended to EQ these with a bit more low end, tad more high end, and then they sounded pretty good, but they're definitely going to be more of that flat response, especially if you're listening to music. Now, the big plus is definitely going to be the price. I mean, at $150, these feel like really premium headphones, and that's not always the case when you get like these below $200 models. They're also some of the most comfortable headphones that you can buy, and the sound is beating most of the rivals in this space, which is not easy to do. Combine that with a few really nice things to have, like locking 3.5mm jacks in both ears. And I do wish there was a little bit more 2022 tech. I mean, my favorite $150 headphones right now before these was the DT770s, which I'm pretty sure came out like almost 20 years ago. And these don't really feel like 2 decades newer. They're still going to be my go-to studio headphones for a while though, so stay tuned guys. I just also did some absolutely crazy shoots with some exotic cars and have a bunch of new gear that just rolled in, so hit me up if you have any questions. Subscribe if you haven't already. Comment with your thoughts on these headphones right here if there's anything specific you want to see, and I'll see you guys soon in a new video.